Here she comes.
It's not over with, but what happened was the judge could have ruled today to evict Monique. He had full authority to do that. Instead, he's given us essentially another 10 days to prepare a case, to hopefully move it to district court. At district court is where we want to be because they can look at the actual foreclosure proceeding, and the facts are there were lots and lots of problems with the way that that foreclosure was handled.
Effectively, what we're trying to do is get this to a district court where we can actually have the case be about whether or not this is even a legal foreclosure in the first place. Given the history of illegality around foreclosures, it's a good question to ask, and the Attorney General is currently looking into this. Freddie Mac and the attorneys representing them have been trying to run this through as quick as possible and prevent us from doing that. And they're scared of this actually going to court where they would have to prove that this was a legal foreclosure. I mean, again, there have been studies that have shown. There's a study in San Francisco done last year that showed over 80% of all foreclosures that they looked at had illegal activity within them. The history of robo-signing, the history of mismanagement, and all sorts.
She has 2 jobs. She has a family member who can pay part of the mortgage as well. Give her a fair shake, relook at this, revisit it, and in district court we have the chance to get there.
The judge said something that I was really impressed by, and what he said was that the constitutional right to a trial by a jury of your peers is sacred in our government, and he did say that, and that was very impressive to me. And he said, despite the fact that the rules were not followed properly, I want to grant you that opportunity to have a jury trial. In this particular case, it has to do with the whole foreclosure process. We have a lot of disputed facts, that's for sure. But the question is, do any of those facts pertain to the very narrow stripe of issues that he can listen to in that administrative court? Because the opposing counsel has filed a motion for summary judgment, and what that says is, hey, we all agree on what the facts were, and according to the facts as they are, we win. We don't even need to have a trial of any kind because this is all a matter of law and not a question of fact. It's either Monique loses or Monique gets set for a jury trial, and that'll be decided on that Monday. Because we want this to be decided, the facts, to be decided by Monique's peers, not necessarily by people who are in a privileged situation and who have a very different cultural background and a very different amount of power, basically.
It's a fair opportunity. Judges are pretty much one person. I'd like to have 12 people decide my fate rather than one. And judges are part of the system, and I think they have a bias. We're appealing to people's consciences, and we're saying that, the way they're doing business is wrong. We're saying no business as usual. I mean, people are underwater in their mortgages right now, and they're underwater because they were charged.
The average person understands these issues, and they're facing these issues themselves, and they're also questioning whether what the banks and Freddie Mac, what they've been doing is right. And with all the evidence of fraudulent things that the banks have been doing in order to, get the money payout from the government for participating in the HAMP program, but at the same time do the switcheroo and not allow loans to be modified to make sure there's a default so that they can win their bets on the derivatives. This is all a money game to the bank people.
We're going to fight to make sure that this was a legal process, and then if that fails, we're still going to fight for what's right and what's just.